going on, everybody? Glad you could join us. Welcome back to Submission Fishing Podcast. Got our new time, 5 p.m. We'll give people a little bit of time to roll in here. How's everybody doing today? Benji Moreno, Oos, what's going on, man? Sammy, Oos, what's going on, dude? Glad you could join us. Driftwood Fishing 760. What's going on, man? Glad you could join us. Yeah, we're gonna have Kevin on today. Gonna be talking about he did like a little bass tournament out down in Mexico. I think it was a pretty big deal. Seemed like a pretty big tournament. I know there's some big winnings and stuff like that. So, we'll talk to him, see what's up, talk about some freshwater fishing. That should be good. What's going on, guys? On Instagram, we're starting the YouTube show. If you want to join us, Iron Fish, Oos, what's going on? Cave Dog, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Yeah, it should be good. I don't really do enough saltwater. I mean, freshwater stuff. So, be a good change of pace. I don't know if I'll have too much to say about it, but I'll at least learn something, if anything. Cave Dog, membership for 22 months. Oos, oos. Hell yeah, Cal. I saw you signed up for the submission at sea. That's going to be awesome, dude. I'm so fucking looking forward to that. If you guys didn't watch the last show, we had Captain Hale on last week. He's the captain of the Voyager, and he went over just like all the things about being a captain, places to fish, kind of what we could expect on our trip, and stuff like that. So definitely should be fun. If you guys missed the last show, definitely check that out. Michael Soloranzo, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. Good to see you. Yeah, if you guys have any questions too, also be sure to leave them in there. Leave them for Kevin. Make it good. Big Water Outdoors. Oos, glad you can make it. Yeah, I've been seeing you guys posting up for the bass tournament, which is crazy. The BD Outdoors tournament, like the bass tournament, I think it already sold out. So they had like so many spots. I guess it was kind of limited and capped. It was like 135, and then I guess they bumped it up to, like 145 members, then like 155 members, and then they had to kept bumping up the classic. But then I think they just had to cut it off. I know Brian likes to fish, just trying to get in there, so we're trying to get him in, but they're running out of spots. I think mostly it's like a product issue. You know what I mean? They get so many sponsors and they send them stuff, but once you run out or they send you so much stuff, it's like you're not going to have enough for everybody. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma they're in, but it's freaking crazy. I mean, they're going to have 155 people out there in Mission Bay on Saturday. That's going to be crazy, man. Rest in peace, Spotties. Hopefully there's not a Spotty Bowl there next week. There's going to be nothing left. It's going to be burnt down. Captain Dad, Oos, home from Carlsbad. What's going on, Captain Dad? Good to see you're home. Do you know if there's any cash payout for winning too? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to double check, but there's usually always cash payouts for those things. I have to double check, but yeah, I'm willing to bet there is. I mean, that's why a lot of people compete. You know what I'm saying? How you say that? Guillermox 710 was probably pretty bad. That Don't Tread on Angler sticker, that would make a great hat. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Yeah, maybe I'll check that out. It would be pretty sick. So if you did like one of those vinyl patches or something, like one of those nice ones. What's going on, guys? On Instagram, we're on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook. Who uses Facebook anymore? We're on YouTube. If you guys want to join us, we're going to start the show on there pretty soon. Just letting everybody know we're going live. Charlie, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hit us up on the YouTube. We got a good show for you guys. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get the what's up? What's up, man? Cryptics. Fishing with Gramps. What's going on? Glad you could join us. What are we talking about today? We've got so normally I do the stream on YouTube. I'm just letting everybody know we're streaming on there. If you guys aren't part of our channel, we got a bunch more people in here. We got like the live chat going, but we're doing actually talking some freshwater fishing. Kevin Nakada is going to be on. He had a big tournament in Mexico. He won like we'll let him tell the story, but he pretty successful trip, and just whatever comes up, you guys got questions and we'll talk about anything. So hit us up on YouTube. So I'll be signing off here in a little bit. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get the official started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Submission Fishing Live podcast. Glad you could join us. My name is Muto, your host. Like always, here on a Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Glad y'all can be here. We got a good show for you guys today. We got Kevin Nakada coming on. He's going to talk a little bit. We're going to switch it up a little bit, do some freshwater fishing talk. You know, we've got all the other conversation going on as well, but primarily we're going to talk about a tournament he was in. We'll let him give us all the details and stuff like that. And, you know, we got some news stories and everything else, but yeah, man, should be good. If you guys have any questions, obviously let us know in the chat. And yeah, without further ado, we'll bring on the myth, the man, the legend, Kevin Nakada. How you doing, man?
What up?
Not much, dude. What have you been up to?
Just grinding, and Mexico is definitely a trip of a lifetime, but I'll be down there pretty frequently, actually. So, but yeah, it was just one of those things where I'm sure everyone that's thought of Mexico bass fishing, they've all thought about it, what it's like, and I've always dreamed of doing it as a kid, so I finally got to do it, and it was like a long trip, and it was super worth it.
That's awesome. So, is bass fishing like a pretty big thing in Mexico, or what?
Yeah. Well, I guess I should start on how I got there. Because there's a long story. So for people who don't know, you know, my company, Fishing Reps, is the company that represents Submission Fishing Company, and I founded that company. But recently, I got hired by Beast Fishing Company, which was a brand that I represented at the time. Still loved their product, obviously, but they hired me in their operations for the company. And we get a call from a Mexico distributor we were working with, and they go, "We have a tournament coming up in less than 3 weeks. You should be there." And we go, "Okay, guess we'll be there." And had no idea what this tournament, didn't know about the background history of Mexico bass fishing tournaments, but give you a brief overview to make sure you guys understand like how far it's come. So usually there's a few events every year, just like normal, you know, like what we would call clubs that are put on by store owners in Mexico, bass fishing store owners and tackle stores. And then they in what's called the Pan American Cup, which is essentially the championship of Mexico. What happens is if you get in this Pan American Cup and you win, the top two, I believe, go to America to compete in MLF tournaments or tournament. And late last year, I believe it was Table Rock was where they got to go. So full circle, found out that this tournament, which was put on by RR Outdoors, they are one of our new dealers down there in Mexico for baits, and they put on this tournament for their very first time.
I think I lost you. I think we lost Kevin. We'll let him get a stream back up. What's going on, everybody on Instagram? Come find us on YouTube and check us out. I'm going to sign off here. Hopefully Kevin will jump back on. Looks like he's got that Walmart internet going. Let's see if we can get it sorted out. Maybe I'll send him a text here. But yeah, if you guys didn't hear what he was saying, you know, he's doing the fishing reps thing, but he got actually hired on by Bates. So he's been doing that a lot. And then they gave him a call, I guess. He was going down there looking at reps and stuff. And then he got the opportunity to kind of check it out. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to send him a text real quick. I know this is like real riveting live stream right now, but unfortunately, the pitfalls of the live show. Your feed dropped. I bet he's like over there just still talking. 'Cause I see his I see his black screen. Maybe if I just take him out, he'll notice he's gone. Salty Dangler, what's going on, man? Oos, glad you could join us. Having some technical difficulties, but yeah, shoulder's doing okay. Oh, did you have shoulder surgery, Cave Dog? Anyways, so we could talk about some. I do got some fishing stories when Kevin comes back, and what's kind of crazy is we were having the like three stories that are almost identical, and they're all kind of like I don't know how to say it. It kind of related as far as like fishing rights and stuff like that, and it's mostly revolves around people uh, being assaulted, you know, and stuff like that, which is kind of crazy. Looks like a lot of them are actually in Florida. Um, oh,
How
he's
far
back.
did I get?
He's back. He's
How
back.
far did I get?
You were like, you said you were with Bates. You got a call like tournament in like 3 days,
Okay.
and then you went
Dude, I
down, and
just
then
went off. I just went off. I
I know that's what I figured.
literally must
It
have
like
just
froze,
talked
and I was
for
like,
like
dude, he's probably just
4
still
minutes.
talking. You got that Walmart internet or
Oh
what, dude?
God.
Tell Paige to
You
pump up
know
that
that
bit rate, dude.
your sister's streaming right now on Hulu or Netflix or whatever. So God,
Oh, that's
that
why.
was terrible. I just went off for
It's a
like
lot
5 minutes. It must have.
better.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah, so you got the call. You got the call to go to this tournament down in Mexico. We're setting the scene.
man. Okay. Anyways, so come to find out, um, like bass fishing in Mexico is very big, but it's really only for hardcore guys, and the reason is like the payouts, they're kind of okay, but like if you were to tell me like a professional bass fishing tournament in America that was literally like the best of the best MLF Bassmaster, you pick one or the other, I would expect 100K for like a regional tournament, you know, a real event from Bassmaster on the tournament series. Um, so like these tournaments are more like club, but they are, because the peso is a different, is a different currency. It has a
Sure.
different rate of exchange. Things are different. So what's important for us would be like, what's valuable for us, which would be $2,000, $4,000. Nowadays with inflation, who knows how valuable that really is? But down there, it's a huge deal, right? So I'm not talking like it's just facts. That's how it is, And there's a lot more that a peso can buy down in Mexico than a dollar can buy in the U.S. So, um, anyways, um, there was in this tournament the most payouts of any tournament, single tournament, not a championship event in history of Mexico. I didn't know that. So
Wow.
they paid out 350,000 pesos altogether, which I don't know how much that is in pesos right now, but the peso's been dropping right now big time, and it's coming closer to the dollars. So they actually are seeing a strength in pesos right now, and it's been at almost like an 8-year low, or an 8-year. It's going back about 8 years in the valuation.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Because it was like what, like 10-1
um,
pretty recently. What is it now?
no, 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 it's 16-1, but it used to be like 22-1 in 2020.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh, it's that bad. Wow.
that's pretty significant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not bad. I mean, it always has been around that price since like 2014. But right now, potentially what might be happening is more US dollars are going into Mexico for many reasons. But I think there's a lot more industrialization happening towards TJ in Ensenada.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot more going on that we all know about that's happening down in Mex. So, but when I was down in Monterey, it's basically a Silicon Valley of Mexico. It was very well kept and very technologically advanced. So, it was a very nice place. So, anyways, I'm connected with one of the one of the participants who I've never met before, and his name was El Contador, which means the accountant, and never met him before. has very good English compared to my Spanish, and hosts me, puts me up in his house, takes care of everything. And we pre-fished on Friday, and had an amazing steak dinner on Thursday in Monterey. And we get to the lake, which is El Cochillo. And El Cochillo is a lake in the middle of the desert outside of Monterey, like 2 hours. It would be the equivalent of going to Arizona. It's very dirty, just barren, nothing out there.
It was a 2-hour drive, like every day.
Oh no! I stayed. He has a house at the lake, so everyone stays there because it's just too much to go back and forth. Yeah, for sure. With a boat in tow, it's just not going to be possible. So, so I stayed there, and we pre-fished on Friday, and we had a great pre-fish day. Let me show you some. Can I pull up some pictures and present? Are you going to be able to still see your face or no? If I present?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
We'll make it work. Work the magic, man. I don't know. Can your internet handle?
We are about to find out.
And your stream.
I wonder. Okay, so you can see that.
Yes.
Do you see me?
Yes. You want me to bring it on?
Is it showing on the stream?
I can bring it on the
stream. There you go. Now, will it show? Will it show this? Do you see pictures?
I don't see anything yet. It's just like a blank screen.
Okay, we're gonna get this working. Hang on. 1 second.
You need some more megabytes per second over there.
Whatever.
Sammy says we don't see anything. What's going on? Who else we got in the house?
Can you see that?
No.
Can you see this screen?
I see it, but it's just white.
Really? Oh.
There's nothing on it.
Dang it.
It says it's sharing, but there's nothing there.
I'm just going to share my screen, and you'll see all the things that I have on my screen.
Try it again.
How's that? Can you see this?
Same thing. It's just
white. Really?
Yeah.
You can't see a boat or anything?
Let me show you what I see. A loading screen.
I know. Well, that you see. Oh, shoot. Okay. Anyways, let's just move on. I took a bunch of videos.
The AOL internet. Yeah, dude, he got a free disc in the mail and put in the little 16-digit code.
God, I gotta show you a photo of this lake. It's like, okay, so one of the problems they're having with this lake right now is they haven't had water in like 10 years down there, like any water. It's just like,
so it's like what California, like a lake meat situation sort of thing in Arizona.
Yeah, very, very dry.
Very, very down.
They're at 32% capacity or something like that. What's this?
So whatever you're sharing.
I'm not sharing anything, am I? Oh God, what a mess.
All right.
Anyways, so the desert is like taking hold of this lake, and it's not at its full capacity. And one thing that does is it brings a lot of concentration of fish into this lake. This lake is not really known for a ton of double digits, but it pumps them out just like you would think of Mex. So Mexico is really, really famous for Lake El Salto, Bacharach, big giant bass lakes that have double digits all the time. So going to this lake, I had expectations. Definitely on tournament day, on the pre-fish day, it was good. Like we caught a couple 7-pounders, pretty decent. Tournament day comes Saturday, and after like a whole night of having a party and basically the captain's meeting, there was 3 different divisions and then a shore division. So they did a masters, a pro, and an amateur, and then they did the shore. There was 12 people in masters, 30 people in pro, and 13, I think, in amateur, and then 97 in shore. So and it was a pretty big payout. Yeah. Well, because there was a huge, entry fee for boats. and you have to have a
Okay.
boat in the first place, right? So think about this. Mexico, they don't sell a lot of boats to people because they
Yeah,
can't
right.
afford to have a boat, right?
Or they
So
get stolen.
how do you get these boats down there in the first place? You have to know the connection either California or
Right.
Texas or Arizona to get it through the border. So when people get their bass boats down there, it's a big deal. Like it is literally the best of the best people can afford to do this
Right.
professionally,
Right.
right? Sponsorships, they get money to do this. We're in
What
pro.
division were
I
you?
can't we were in pro because I can't compete in masters because an American can't qualify for the Pan American Cup.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I was the only American in this tournament, the only one, and I was actually the only foreigner. So that just shows you I was, you know, this was just me. There was no other people. I didn't go with anyone. I didn't go with anyone else from the U.S. So um, we were teams of two. You could be in teams of two in masters and pro, and I think you can even in pro you could have teams of three. Masters had a limit of 5 fish. Amateur pros had 4. I think amateurs had 4, and then you had a limit of 3 for shore per person. Then it was individual for shore. Anyways, the lake, painting a picture of the lake. If you had the chance to ever fish like Diamond Valley or I guess Mead actually is a really good comparison. This would
Yeah.
be the equivalent of that. They don't have much grass, if any. It's a bunch of big standing trees that are isolated and just nothing green on them. They're dead. They've been dead for years.
Is it man-made
The
or
lake
natural?
has
Do you know?
it's man-made. Yeah, you can see the
Okay.
dam all the way around it because the river goes through Monterey into the El Cuchillo. So, um, and I've never fished this lake before, obviously. So, get down there, we get going. Day one, we launch, and we had an okay day. Day one, we had like 10 pounds or something like that. So we were in 14th place on day one. It wasn't a good start.
How many people?
14th place out of 30 people.
Okay. Not
14th
bad.
place.
Middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack, but the very top of the pack, it was like that person put on 25 or 24 pounds or something like
Wow.
that. The very top.
Wow.
So second place was 19. Like it was crazy what was at the top. Second day comes, we had a game plan. We went with it. We struck out on a spot and that we thought was going to produce a big one. So we tried to go to a different place. And towards the end of the day, and the wind came up so hard in the afternoon, we had to cut off the tournament to 10 o'clock instead of running it for a whole 8 hours. So we only got 4 hours to fish on day 2. So the pressure was on. We needed a couple good fish. It was like at the second to last hour, I was using the forward-facing sonar, and I saw this friggin' fish in a bush, and I put my free rig in there because they're big on the free rig down there. Dude, I set the hook on this thing, and it just was like when you set a hook on a monster bass after you've hooked a bunch of 2-pounders or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, this is different. And it was different. And it was only 5 feet of water, right? It was ridiculously shallow. I could see this thing on the fish find on the forward facing sonar, but like no, I didn't know how big it was. So I set the hook and I'm like, oh, get the net. And you're freaking out. Anyways, so Alconta goes and gets the net.
You feel like
and we
hooking into
see this thing,
Lizzo.
we're like, oh my God, it's the biggest fish in the tournament. And he's like, he nets it and the hook gets stuck. And we're like, oh no, like we're about to lose. It's a single hook, it's a weedless hook. We're like, oh my
The hook
God.
got stuck
like,
where? In the net?
Yeah, it got stuck in the net. The hook got stuck in the net. With the fish, it didn't go in. It didn't go in at the beginning. It jumped and it hit the edge and it stayed outside the net. So he turns it and literally manhandles the handle and sweeps it under, like just his wrist, because he couldn't do anything else. Turns the whole thing under in that millisecond, and we got the thing, dude. And we bring this fishing boat, and we're like, oh my God, like freaking out, like high-fiving, like just screaming. And there's people on either side of us fishing the tournament. So they knew what was going on. And El Conta just goes, "This is the biggest fish of the tournament, guaranteed. There's no doubt. Like this is it. This is going to be big bass." And for like big bass down there is the biggest deal. Like finishing, first and second, third is a great big deal, but catching the single biggest fish of the tournament is like a big deal. So we were freaking out and we were guessing at how. I was like, that it's close to 10 pounds. And anyways, and he just recently, and him and his son who fish tournaments all the time, they recently got second with the 10 pounder. So he's seen a 10 pounder recently, like the last 3 weeks. So
in the same lake.
In the same lake, yeah, they fish this lake like a lot, like a ton of people, a lot of people fish this tournament regularly. Anyways, so I get the fish in the live well, and a couple of fish have turned over and died on us in there, and they were like 1 or 2 pounders. So we were like constantly like checking on this fish. It is a monster, dude. It was insane how big this fish was. I'm gonna try to show you again. Frank,
What's up?
Let me see if I can open up the fish at least. But this fish literally changed our fishing, our tournament weight in one shot. Like one shot, this fish changed the entire weight of our.
Is it the weight like through the 3 days, or do you kind of like win each day sort of thing?
No, it's 2 days combined.
Okay,
Can
so
you
it
see
was a
that at
2-day
all?
trip and it combines the two. Yeah. Should I bring it up? Is this the one?
Yeah. See if it works.
Yeah, there it is.
So you can see my thing now?
Yeah.
Can you see me going back and forth between photos?
Yeah. It's a little slow, but it's doing it.
Okay. I can show you some photos then. So anyways, I mean, people here that probably fish tournaments, they probably understand it's kind of like, other club tournaments that they fish. Hold on. Took a lot of video and stuff. That's my tournament partner, El Conta. We decided not to use any video on the second day because it was a curse.
Oh, because you videoed the whole first day?
Pretty much. It was not a good idea. But yeah, dirt roads. That's their launch ramp. Not even really paved. This is us rigging in the middle of the night. Yep. But like it's professional, like the way they put this thing together, they had a live feed. It was really amazing. It was hotter than Hades too. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a bar.
It's a nice setup though. That's not so bad.
Oh no, this is a great boat. Great lake. That was a pre-fish fish. But you can see in the background like how freaking look at all the trees in the background. But yeah, beautiful lake, full of fish. But yeah, here's a better shot of what the lake looks like. It's very barren.
Oh yeah.
Very barren.
Is that all the lake is used for, basically just fishing?
No. It's actually a reservoir for drinking water, but it's been terrible for the last few years because there's no water. So it's like down at 32% capacity. It's usually way higher. So anyways, we freaking get to the weigh-in, and he called his son because his son was manning the tournament with the tournament director. And he's like, we've got the big bass, which is called the golon, which is like wolf or the single, it's the biggest one. So anyways.
Salty. Salty. Brian hit me up about this too. And I talked about it before the show started. The BD tournament, they did sell out. They had like 130 something spots. I talked to Nate. But you could probably email them and see if you can be on a wait list. So they had like 130 people sign up. and then they upped it to like 140, then like to 155, and they've sold tickets like
That's
all the way up to
crazy.
155 people. So they only had so much like product that they can give, so they kind of had to cut it off. But yeah, dude, they've got like over 155 entries already. So that's I didn't think you could sell out a tournament either, but that's kind of what happened. But maybe
That's
hit them up. We had Nate on the show, Nate when Nikki, and he works for BD now, and he was on the show a couple weeks ago. But if you want to reach out to him, I think he gives his email address. He can probably put you on a waiting list. If somebody drops out or cancels out. But yeah, I reached out to them to kind of see what was going on with that. So, as I know Brian was trying to get in there too. But yeah, man, that's brutal.
insane.
Yeah, it is. All right, carry on.
So we pull this thing out of the live well at the tournament weigh-in, and you could just see everyone was like, "Oh shit!" Like this thing was giant compared to what everyone else was throwing down. And normally, like 1 10-pounder, maybe two, will be caught in a tournament. So this was kind of the one. The previous one that was weighed, that was big bass to us, was 8 pounds. So we had to be 8.
Wow.
We get up to the weigh-in, put the whole bag on the scale, and it was 18 pounds. It was a huge uh, third
The
place.
fish was
So like with
we
just
lost
that
you a
one
little bit.
fish.
The fish was 18 pounds. One fish.
Oh no, no, the one fish was 10 pounds. 10
Okay,
pounds, 0.375 ounces.
but your bag was 18 pounds.
But the bag weight was 8. Yeah.
Okay.
So we jumped from 14th to 3rd with that one fish, basically.
Wow.
Did you get me
So you ended
still?
up, yeah.
Okay.
So you ended up getting third place.
3rd place and in pro, and then the golon. So this is how you spell it.
Gold on. Was that biggest fish?
Golon. That's the single biggest fish.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations. What was the prize money for something like that?
The prize money was I think 2K.
What was the
Yeah.
10K? Was that pesos? I
Pesos.
saw.
Yeah, 10K pesos. Is it 2K? No, it's $1,000. Well, it's like $1,600 right now, or something like that. And then right? I don't know. My math's off. And then same thing for the 3rd place. So, but yeah, it was crazy. And I left some reels down there with my tournament partner, and he kept all the winnings, and we had a great time. And
Nice.
went back to
That's awesome,
Cali,
man.
or actually flew back to Jacksonville, and went out fishing with you in the same week. So
Yeah. Yeah, we did. We went offshore. Was that last week?
it was
Friday.
Friday.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. You guys, I know,
almost a week
saw some
ago
of
now.
that monster amberjack. Yeah, we've been fishing a lot, and then we fished last night too.
Probably
We
gonna
got
fish
some giant.
tonight.
Yeah, we got some giant ass speckled trout. That was crazy. Too much fishing. I think we've been fishing too much. It's been wild.
No, I'll
That's
probably
crazy
be
though. But
over
I mean,
in your secret spot
yeah, dude, I got the spot.
tonight.
Yeah,
We should do a live from your spot.
we should. I mean, we definitely could just stream while we're fishing. That's a good idea, actually.
So easily,
Yeah,
we could do that with two
that
different
is a good
angles,
idea.
even if we wanted
Just
to.
put some lights out or something like
Yeah,
that. But yeah, we could have one camera like showing the water, and then one just showing us. Yeah, that's a good
we
idea.
should do that. It would be a blast.
What do you guys think of that? Do you want a fishing stream?
We would catch. We would catch.
Oh yeah, every time we go out there, we catch. Salty says do it. Mel says congratulations, Kevin. Yeah, dude, but I mean third place, that's no joke, man. That's legit.
Never fished the lake. Freaking the only gringo that. So the reason why I have a new nickname in Mexico, El Chinito, is because the place is called China, and they think I look Chinese, but I'm not
I know.
Chinese.
That's what I
My
figured.
last
They
name's
probably didn't
Japanese,
call you gringo.
so
That's pretty
that's
funny.
my new nickname in Mexico. I've had a few. I like this one better than my other one, so this is
El
good.
Chinito.
Yeah.
What's Japanese in
The little
Mexico?
Chinese, the little Chinese man.
What's what's Japanese in
El
Mexico? Do you
Japon.
know?
El Japonés is Japanese.
Japonés?
Japonesito doesn't click as easily. El
Yeah.
Chinito is what
I
they
like El
settled on.
Chinito. El Chinito's better. That's pretty funny, dude. Well, yeah, man.
Literally, that's what they call me down there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and
Congratulations on that.
like,
So, like, what's the deal? You got the bug for more tournament fishing, or
well,
what's the deal with that? Or are you just kind of playing it by ear, or was it just kind of like
I
a
think I
happenstance
would
sort of
love to
thing?
keep. No, I'll probably keep going to Mexico if I get the invitations to go, and I have been getting invited. So, um, I love fishing Mexico, man. It's super hot, but the fishing is insane. Like it's so good. Um,
That's what I've heard.
I wish I recorded more.
I've never fished. I've like
Go
fished
ahead.
offshore Mexico and like near shore, just on like sport boat trips, but I've never gone down to the like the islands and Guadalupe and like a lot of these places that you hear about. I know we were going to do that trip a couple years ago and it ended up falling through. And, I was like signed up for that. That was going to be like my trip. And then it just never happened. And I've never actually made it to like, I've been to Coronado Island. So I shouldn't say I've been to Coronado a ton, but that's not the same as some of those other, what's the other one that Captain Dan always goes to? Um,
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. They
it's
closed.
not
Rancho
La
Leonero
Paz.
closed.
Rancho Leonero. That's
It's
what I was
Rancho
thinking.
Leonero. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
in Los Borides. Um, but yeah, they closed down. But there's another one down there. I forget the name of it. I never went. I went to Rancho Leonero years ago. But I've never been freshwater fishing, and I've always wanted to go as a kid. I finally got to go, and it was for a tournament. It was also for work. Very blessed, and it was just crazy. Like it's a lot of blessings, a lot of luck. Something you
Right.
never really think about you would ever do in your life, and then you go and you just happen to catch the biggest bass tournament. Like the freaking gringo in the tournament goes with a person he's never met, and they do that well. Like a lot of luck there, probably more than anything. So, um, but yeah, it was everyone down there is super nice. Obviously, there's some more rugged individuals, but if you don't do anything stupid, most people are going to take care of you. So, um, yeah, if you want to go fishing in Mexico, you really have to know people. You can't
Yeah.
just
Oh,
go
I'm
down there
sure.
randomly and like you
Right.
got to either go with a guide or you got to go with a
Yeah. Yeah.
lodge. Like
Of
this
course.
is not something just random, like me, guys just go down there and just go, right? I got an invitation to come. So
Right.
I got
Right.
some treatment that was different than most people probably get if they didn't know. Though I think they would be more than, I think they would be more than welcoming to have someone come and fish their tournament. But I think you just got to understand, like, don't be a jerk when you go down there. Like, you're
Yeah.
part
Of
of the
course.
family. Treat yourself like another one of your family. Um, they don't want anyone stupid going down there and ruining their fun because it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it really was. The fishing is awesome. That I can't get over it. It is very similar to California bass fishing. It's so close. It's between Arizona, like Mead and Mojave, and like deep water lakes, clear, not so clear, but like a lot of nothing, just rocks and barren trees. And then
Right.
Cali, where you have like really just steep edges and rock piles in the middle of nowhere, and trees and giant drop offs in the middle of nowhere, and islands. Um, Really interesting place. My next one is actually going to be I'm going to potentially be going back to the tournament, but after that, I'm hoping to go to El Salto, which has always been a childhood dream of mine. So, which is possibly the most well-known trophy bass lake, like there it is, trophy
Yeah.
bass lake in the world. So, lots
What
of
is it?
double
What do you think
digits.
why are the bass so big in Mexico? Is it just it's just not fished, or just the geography,
They
or do
have
you have any theories, or
Well, there's a few reasons. There's a lot of like kind of ideas going around right now in the bass fishing community. A lot of it comes down to like the cycle of a lake, and also the amount of fish there is in biomass compared to its. There needs to be a certain kind uh, uh, of lake prey to trophy bass ratio that certain lakes can meet, and this is Mexico has one of those places where it can do that. So there's actually a lot of commercial fishing in Mexico, and bass is targeted along with tilapia. One thing that
Like they
people
eat
don't maybe
the
don't
bass.
know, they eat the bass.
Oh, okay.
One thing people don't know is that bass actually can. They're one of the very few fish that can actually turn around on a net and not pass through. So if they feel a gill net, they can go up to it and touch it, and then they can turn their body and turn around. So they're not necessarily like, only the dumb ones usually get caught, or the small, amateurs don't know what they're doing get caught. But the big ones, they don't get caught. So what this does is it creates a huge difference in the size. You don't get too many mid-range fish like 4 to 7 pound. You get big or you get small, and you don't get very much of the middle. So in a lot of the cycles in California, there was also like this at the beginning, where you had tons of bigs, or sorry, very few bigs, tons of smalls, but not very much in the middle. But a lot of people were eating fish back in the day, like in the 80s and
Right.
stuff like that. So a lot of conversation has started recently because a few guys, especially this one guy who's called the aquatic biologist on Instagram, has been really preaching that trophy bass don't really exist anymore because there's been nonstop catch and release. So there hasn't been this range that's been taken out of the picture. You get tons of this middle range, and then they eat everything. And no big
Yeah.
fish can exist because they can't get bigger. They're limited on the amount of food that's out there, too much competition for other food, and it stunts their growth, which I also have believed for a very long time too.
I've heard that as
So I'm
well. I think
actually,
Coach has talked about that a lot too. He was the first one that I've heard that theory from. Coach Worf was like he talked about that like years ago, and was it interesting. How it's problematic that so many are being thrown back instead of taken out.
yep,
That's crazy. Well, I mean, yeah, you
it's a
think about it.
talk
It's
right
not. Yeah.
it's a talk right now. And what these guys do in Mexico is they are harvesting fish regularly, right? So there is an extreme of bigs and littles, but there's not so many in the middle. So it's one of the very few places in the world where I would say that they're actively commercial fishing to the point where they are able to make this happen. El Salto actually they actually have a really interesting
So they commercial fish in
harvest
the lake.
schedule for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they put
Okay.
nets in
Yeah.
there, like big
Wow.
nets, gill nets, massive ones, and then it's a huge industry over there. And then they put the gill nets in, but they can only do it. In El Salto they do it at a certain time because there's a lot going on with that lake for trophy bass, a lot more income coming in, so they need to help each other. So they have commercial guys doing what they do, and they have bass guys doing what they do, and everyone's happy. So El Salto has always done very good, has always done very well for trophy bass because they do great harvest. So not only that, but tilapia is a very rapidly. It has a huge spawn every year, and they spawn every point of the year because the water stays pretty warm in Mexico.
Right. Right.
I think we were fishing. It was like 81 degrees the water, and it was getting hotter. It's like 86 right now, and it's only been 2 weeks. So tilapia has a huge. They breed a lot. They're very fast, so
Yeah.
it offers a huge opportunity for bass to consume their prey. A lot of prey. They don't have bluegill. They have very little shad. So their main forage is tilapia. Um, hey, you just got an order in for a dealer from a dealer.
Okay.
Uh,
Hey, you guys, just take a take a second. If you guys liking the show, hit that like button for us. Help us bump us up in that algorithm a little bit. I really appreciate it. Big Water Outdoors says, Kevin, does that apply to spotties too? I would think not, right? Because spotties aren't. It seems like bass are the apex predator, so they don't really have much competition. I feel like spotty kind of get there's
Well,
enough eating
no, no,
them, but
no.
what do you think about that?
It really applies to every fish. Um, every fish has a okay. I'll put it in my own perspective really quick. If you have an aquarium and you have a set size for your aquarium, whether it's like, let's just say 180 gallons, a pretty big one, right? Or even just look at the
Right.
Bass Pro Shops. You walk into Bass Pro Shops, look at the aquarium. Imagine if there was only one fish in there. Well, that one fish is going to have all the food when things get dumped in, right? You put the same amount of food in for that same aquarium for 50 fish as you put that one fish. Well, that one fish is going to get big because it has nothing else to compete with for food. Okay, even two fish, but you put two bass in that same aquarium, and then you put 50 bass in that same aquarium, and you feed them the same amount of food. Well, they only have so much food between each other. So the big bass move slower. They're not going to want to exert as much energy. The small fish are going to want to go all crazy and snap after all the bait. So the big bass start to lose weight and they get stunned in their growth. If you were to put spotties in an aquarium, it would be the same thing. Limited amount of food. There is a finite amount of food, believe it or not. It's not infinite. There is a finite amount out there, right, in a day. If there's less food for these things to consume and it's spread out around too many fish, the fish that are in there are not going to get very big. Bottom line. So it's the same thing with yellowtail. It's the same thing with trout in a stream. If there's not competition for food and they don't have to worry about eating in a day and they can consume as much as they want and they have a large body of water, they're going to have a great chance of getting big. Absolutely. So, but this comes at a cost, right? So yes, you get bigger fish. The cost is that you may not have a bunch of fish to catch, right? You
Right.
might only catch a couple of fish, but they're going to be giants or they're going to be tiny. So a few of these California lakes that we know that are like this are, you can look at Lake Dixon, which has had the biggest bass of all time, 25 pounds snagged on its back. It had the biggest bass, but there wasn't very much in the middle. Like it was a 1 pounder, 2 pounder, a 3 pounder, even sometimes. Yeah, and sometimes there's 7 pounders. But then you get this giant fish that's 25 pounds to exist, right? So
Right.
but there wasn't many. So it's a very interesting dynamic, like how to negotiate that, like how for especially for tournaments. What do you want for a tournament? Do you want a bunch of fish to be caught? Do you want a couple of fish to be caught to win the tournament, right? So it's hard to say what's best. If you're talking to a trophy guy, he doesn't want a bunch of fish to be in the lake. He wants a couple. If you're talking
Right.
to a tournament fisherman or a fun fisherman, fishing a weekend, they want a bunch of fish to catch. They don't want to deal with not catching fish all the time. So
Right. Right.
kind of here nor there. But one of the places that this is not a problem is Mexico, because they have really good, like they understand their fishery very well. They've done this for years. They have no issue. So
It's
years.
interesting.
Been
Yeah.
like, I don't know how long they've harvested in El Salto, but I think probably since the beginning when they actually realized there was tilapia in there. So um, yeah, it's a pretty interesting place. And um, like I was telling you, tournaments in America, a lot of people are complaining because they're not seeing a lot of variety in the sizes anymore. Just very consistent, 2 to 7 pound fish are really prevalent in most lakes. So probably time for people to think about harvesting again. And back in the day, like, it's 50s, 60s, people weren't releasing fish.
Right.
And when Bassmasters first started, it was a catch and kill tournament. They
Yeah.
were not releasing bass.
Right.
That is
Right.
not that is a new thing. That is not old school. So yeah, like we have a lot of fish out there right now. Like I don't think we're hurting, to keep bass alive. Spotted bay bass. I saw. Was it Salty that mentioned spotties about the
Yeah.
range now? I think there's like an age thing there that's really hard to spotties are old, right? There's a different class now of classification of fish. We're getting to different species. Do I think a spotty could get to 5 pounds? I'm sure. But if you go to a place like Alamitos, Alamitos has giant fish, but are you going to catch a ton of fish? No, it's not like San Diego Bay or Mission Bay.
Right.
You won't catch a bunch of 10-inch fish. You're going to catch a few giants. Like it's going to be a different place. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
you
like the
can
only
look at
place I've
that.
seen
Like,
20 acres.
right, right,
Yeah.
regularly,
No, like
regularly.
you don't see those in
So
San Diego. Yeah.
no, not very often. You see tons of 10-inch fish. Like that's just part of the deal. So
Yeah, it's like that 10 to
um,
13 is like they're everywhere, in San Diego Bay. Yeah.
yeah. So I think people just need to kind of like open up to the idea. Like I know everyone harps on the pier guys and like they just wipe out illegal sized fish or whatever. Like there's people that call the wardens and stuff like that on each other. You know, we self police pretty well. I'm sure there's bad actors, but for the most part, if someone's gonna kill spotties, like it's not gonna be the end of the day. Like there's not gonna be the end of that fish species. There's gonna be more than enough spotties to take over. So I was always a big fan of like fairly in if someone's going to use their fishing license to their own whatever they want to do with it and it was legal, go for it, man. Like what's the problem? So I think catching and keeping fish is probably healthier for a fishery than not, and it also helps reduce a lot of the stupid fish out there. So
Right.
if you want a strain of like super fish, the one thing you would want to do is you want to take out the weakest fish, the dumbest fish. You want to start increasing your ability for those fish to thrive and to be selective in their food choices, or their not falling for a certain amount of lures a certain amount of time. It's definitely the case that not all fish are the same. There's a lot of behaviors that are exhibited amongst the same fish and the same species that are totally different just because their brain power is different. They think differently.
Sure.
So, and their personalities are different. They all don't fight the same. So,
And I think that's one thing like
anyways,
Florida does really well with like the slot fish. It's like they target that kind of that zone that you're talking about. It's like
middle,
the
yeah,
yeah, right in the middle zone and get rid of them, and then it seems like you get more giants. But I mean, people eat fish
it
here.
makes
Like
perfect.
a lot of people keep like release. Really isn't. I don't think is practiced so much here in Florida. There's people that like I know California. It's big where it's like a lot of people don't keep the calicos, or even the sand bass. Sometimes it's like a lot of people aren't. They don't really release the slot redfish or the slot trout. Typically they're going home in somebody's
Yeah,
bag. Yeah,
redfish is actually the one of the best, uh, probably one of the best like reflections of how well slot fishing or slot management works. Like there's so there's such a huge extreme there in redfish. Like there is
yeah.
plenty of places you can catch dinks. Place you're catching dink bulls,
Oh no, I think we lost them again. El Chinito.
harvesting a so.
The Walmart internet strikes again. Yeah, what he's talking about is I know we've talked about the slot fish before. Is there's a range where in like California, if it's only a certain limit, you can't keep them. But in Florida, you've got the slot where if they're within a certain zone, they're keepable. So you have to release once they get a certain height and bigger, you can't keep them anymore. And once they're under a certain length, you can't keep them. You only got this small range in the middle where they're legal to keep. But I mean, a lot of people tend to tend to eat fish here. Is I guess one of the observations that I've made. Catch and release is huge. And oh, you're back. El Chinito's back.
Yep.
You dropped out again a little bit.
I've eaten spotty, by the way. Not my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I
Not
always
my
talk about. I
favorite.
had
I
that
wouldn't
one.
keep doing it.
I caught a 14-incher that went belly up. I released it and then it went belly up, and I took it home and ate it, and I think it was fine. I don't think it was as bad as like everybody. I think people fabricate how bad it is because they don't want people keeping them. To be honest with you, it's not like a
If
fish you
you
would
want
go
to like
after,
fry
but
it, it's like a
it was like
terrible.
okay, it was
Oh,
fine. It was fine. I guess I would say it wasn't like repulsive like people make it seem out to be. I mean, you can make the argument that the water that it's in the bay and stuff like that is obviously not the best, and the stuff that it's eating, living it on the oil and contaminants and stuff. But I know these fools be keeping halibuts in the same water. You know
Very
what I
true.
mean?
Very true.
You catch a legal halia there, and people got no problem taking that thing home, and it's like it's the same thing. But yeah, I mean, Splatty is not worth keeping. I don't think just because it's not that good. It's not worth eating on a regular basis. That's for damn sure. So I think they're okay.
I keep coming in and out. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, someone else, your sister's streaming here. So,
Damn, she's streaming,
anyways,
she's surfing on her phone. She's got
yeah.
she got everything running. What do you guys got? That 5 megabyte upload or what?
Well, I'm on my hotspot. That's what I've done most of the night. So,
Oh, you took it off the
but
Wi-Fi?
yeah, I'm a hotspot. Um, yeah, I don't know. You asked me if I'm going to do tournament fishing for freshwater. I would love to do more tournament freshwater fishing. I just got to get myself a boat. I got to get a truck to pull it. I got to get a place to sleep and put my head down. You know what's interesting is there's this whole
So all you
thing
need is
going on
another
right now
100K.
with terminating. You nailed it, and probably more because
Yeah,
the only way
probably
you can
more.
compete right now, and probably more. The only way you're
Yeah,
going to compete in bass fishing right now is use forward-facing sonar, and you just need to spend like 30K on your sonar and electronic systems. Not kidding. So that's not including the boat. So out the
yeah.
door,
And then
you're probably
the
spending.
travel.
You're probably you're probably spending 200K a year. You got to get a new boat, all your service, your everything, your truck to pull it, you're servicing that, the places you're staying. It is an insane amount of money that it takes to go do this annually. So
Yeah,
as soon as I
well,
have
that's why
that
people have
kind
to
of
get sponsors.
ability,
You know.
yeah, but you know, sponsorship before you're good and you're going on a tour and winning is extremely hard to get. Having been in the position of making decisions for people that approach
Yeah,
brands and companies, very hard to do that. So
it's a catch
convincing
22.
someone,
You know, 'cause people, if you're a sponsor, you want somebody that's winning tournaments and has some sort of notoriety. And if you're a fisherman, you need sponsors to go compete. So because you don't have the money, and it's just like this vicious cycle. But you're right. At some point, you got to pony it up and do it yourself, bootstrap it, do it broke, or you just. It's probably a rich man's game. A lot of it too, where a lot of guys just come from money and they're able to do it. And it is what it is.
there's quite a few guys. There's quite a few guys that I know that have done it. Really, really have young guys that have really come from never doing it, fishing local tournaments as hard as they could, fish since they were basically 2 years old or 1 years old, whatever they're going to say. Really grinded it, and it's brutal. It is a brutal and very hostile place to compete. So, there you go.
Big Water Outdoor said, if you want to
That's
make a million
true.
bass fishing, you need to start with 3 million. Probably true.
It's probably more true than not. So
Yeah.
I think there will be an opportunity. I think what the best thing to do if someone wants to do tournaments, including myself, is to fish club tournaments. I mean, Mexico is an interesting one just because it's so unique. I was just invited. I wasn't, and my intention wasn't to go down there and to be regular, but I might. It's pretty fun. It's just a great lake and the people are nice. But I think club tournaments are the best way to do it. Even spotty fishing has gotten really interesting recently, just because of the Spotty Bowl and all the resurrection of these tournament series like the Plastic Navy that had just died and are being reinvigorated with more people now that are in the sport than ever. So
Yeah, but look
I'm
at the
excited
BD
to see where
tournament. 155
I
people.
think.
That's nuts.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. That's
That's
crazy. And
that's
to sell
insane.
out like that for their first ever Spotty tournament. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I think that there's a lot of I think it's going to get bigger and bigger, to be honest with you,
I
and
think
that's great.
I mean, that's all Spotty Bowl pretty much. I mean, Spotty Bowl, I think single handedly kind of put spotty tournament fishing back on the map for sure.
Yep, it was on the
I mean,
map, but it needed to come back, and no one was
right?
doing it
Yeah,
except for Spotify when it came back. Yeah, when
right.
it started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could do them, but they were just small time. I didn't see anything like spotty wool, and then even when I competed in those first couple years, like it's just grown. I mean, even since those days, it's like it's crazy now. It's just insane.
yeah, it is insane.
And
It's insane to think
everybody in
about.
Southern California has heard about it. Like everybody knows what
Oh yeah,
spotty bowl is. If you fish the bays, if you fish in Southern California, it's like, yeah, you've heard of spotty bowl at this point. This is crazy.
it'll probably still get bigger and bigger. In 10 years, we're all going to look at this, and there might be 1,000 competitors a year. You know, I mean, seriously, it might get crazy. So I hope so. I think that's great. The
I
spotties
feel
were
bad for
so
Mission.
like, what's that?
Mission Bay is going to be hell. 150 anglers in Mission Bay. Yeah, that's going to be nuts.
I mean, everyone's going to be on top of each other.
Yeah, yeah. Get there
I mean,
early.
why not just
Get in
choose
your
San
spot.
Diego Bay? I mean, or just leave it open bay. You know, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't know if they
It's
expect.
very hard.
I don't know. I also don't know if they expected such a big turnout. You know, I think it's one of those like hindsight's 2020. I think if they'd known how many people were to show up, it probably would have been altered a little bit. You
San
know,
Diego Bay. Yeah, they should. Next time they should stick to San Diego Bay only. And it's not like nothing against Mission. It's just there's not enough
it's
space for
just the
that bay to
size.
hold all those
Yeah,
people. There's not enough
and even
space. There's
Mission
no way.
Bay, there's only so many places where you can catch spotties. So even within like the whole bay, it's like then you're limited again. It's just like it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be like the trout opener.
Yeah, I think a lot of the same guys that it will look like a trout opener. And are they doing a launch point, a single launch point?
Yeah, because you have to meet up before, I think, and then like register. Because you got it.
Wow.
Because you got to get. They're giving you like a measuring device. Because they're doing it with like
Oh
the
wow.
CCA too. Like you got to get one of those CCA measuring tapes, and it's got yeah. I think there's a check in. I think I could be wrong.
Wow. I would love to see some video of this. I'm sure that there's going to be
We
plenty of
will.
people recording this, but yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna get some for sure. Yeah, that's nuts.
Good
That's
for
nuts.
them. Good for everyone.
Yeah.
Seriously. About time. About time
I know
someone took it to that
me and you
level.
are in a flounder tournament right now, but we got to go catch some flounder, dude.
We're going to go to your secret spot. Bet that thing's bit right now. I'm going to
There's
head over.
flounder.
I'll be over there in a couple minutes. Yeah.
Me and Kevin been fishing out my backyard and just been crushing trout like left and right. The spotted trout, the saltwater stuff. It's been crazy, man. I think we're gonna do a
You
stream
think
from the backyard maybe next week. I think that's a good idea.
I'm going to go? I'm going to head over and sneak into your backyard right now. I'm not
You
kidding.
can. I mean, you know where I live.
I do.
You're only 5 minutes away.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Sammy, you have to pick up your board at Dana Landing. So that's gonna be nuts, dude. That's gonna be
Wow.
chaos. That's gonna be
I would,
chaos.
if people were
Get there
smart,
early.
I get there an hour and a half before the opening of the tournament to be in
Yeah,
line to get that board because
you don't want
no
to be
one's going
still
to
in
hold
line
that
when.
line.
Yeah, you want to get to your spot first. So I mean, if I can give you guys some tips, it's Driftwater says yeah to register at 6:15 at Dana Landing. So get there at 5, dude. Get there at 5:30. Like, be in line because you want to be able to get your spot. Even if you got to be on the water and wait for an hour, it's worth it. It's gonna be so busy. Claim your spot, pick where you want to fish, and then you can get to your first pick of that. You know, it's not a tournament you want to really wait around in. At least that's
No,
my advice. It's my advice. Get there
definitely
first,
not.
kind of get your zone, and at least get a little bit of an advantage. Crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. All right, Kevin, I'll let you go. Anything you want to plug? What do you got going on? Where can we find you?
Buy some submission from your local retailer. It really helps everything that we all do, especially on this channel. And definitely, they work. We're not just trying to sell you something that doesn't actually catch fish. I'm sure that the top, at least in the top 5 of the BD tournament, we're going to hear of 3 guys who have been using submission, and they're probably going to do very well. So get yourself some submission. I would highly recommend if you fish in that tournament to get yourself some submission. 10, 15, 20s,
If you guys are
sumos,
at
all
Dana Landing is a big supporter of ours, so you guys are
they
going to be
just
right there. Yeah,
yep.
and they just had a big order, so they should have plenty of the. If you guys are short on the 15 sumos, which everybody's kind of looking for, they got the mercenaries, they got everything. So definitely check
Get
out Dana.
yourself get yourselves 10, 15, 20s, both of the styles, the sumo mercenary. Get those soon, because if they run out and you're trying to fish that tournament, you may not even have them for the tournament. That's
So if you were
big
going
advice.
out, if you're going out Mission Bay this time of year, where's the first place you're going?
I can't, dude. If I say something right now, there's going to be people there, and you do the same thing. There will be people there. We can't do that. We
Are you
can't do
going?
that.
You going to SeaWorld, Quivira Basin? You're gonna go hit the.
I actually like. I
All right,
love
no secrets, no tips.
I loved Mission Bay so much for the tournaments. Always did well there. If I go back and I fish Spotty Bowl, I'm gonna lose my little tactic. So I will eventually go back. I would love to continue fishing that and be in Cali. So
Just fly back once a month just to fish it.
yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, we
Yes,
could. I mean,
absolutely.
it's not as frequent as it was. It's honestly, it's kind of feasible. I mean, it's expensive, but Spotty at best says Mission Bay is trash right now.
Is
Yeah,
it? Oh,
Alex knows, dude.
he is.
He,
He's
that
the
dude
reigning
fishes there
champ.
all the time. He would know.
He's the reigning champ.
Mission Bay's a bitch because it's either it's good and the fish are like big hogs, or it's just like it's really, really, really hard.
I don't know. I always had pretty good luck at Mission, even at the shore division. I really liked it. I will say, I will say, originally when I was repping another company, I was using an 8-inch. Did you remember me telling you about this? Did I ever tell you? Did I show you the lure I was using?
The 8-inch, no.
I was using an 8-inch eel, whacking spotties, dude, whacking them from shore.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah.
Dude, like dumb.
Yeah.
And so people
Just
fish
the black
really.
one, right?
It was just a freaking giant thing, Like I even threw the 12-inch one and got bit. But
Spotties love the 12-inch, dude.
Aside from using, submission products, which I will say I use majority of the time in Spotty Bowl, no lie. I got hooked on them. I figured them out at some point. Fishing docks was not my strong suit. I learned how to fish docks because of the Sumo 20-gram confetti was my first gateway drug to submission. Literally slammed fish for like an hour. It was mind-blowing. I didn't even know how to do anything with it. I just dropped it next to a dock and caught fish.
Just dropped it and got bit.
Seriously, it was that easy.
Yeah.
So, but then like now you incorporate the 10 and 15 gram, which was not existing back then. And it's even crazier now. Like you can use it all your, all throughout the tide phase instead of just at high tide on really deep edges of the docks.
The one thing I will say though, like if you are going to go to Quivira Basin, it's pretty deep there, and
it is.
I would say probably a 20-gram is probably going to be more beneficial to you than a 10 or 15. You're talking like 40 feet in some zones. I mean, if you go way back in the docks, it does get more shallow as you get to the rocks. But if you're like fishing around the bait barge and even like near some of the outer docks, I've had a lot of luck there. And I remember we were fishing there one time and I was throwing a 40-gram under the boats and was getting bit. So it's deep. You have to check it out. See what the current is, but I don't think you I'm just saying I would be prepared. I wouldn't rely on just having the 10s and 15s there. It is deeper.
That's why I said 20. I said 10, 15s, and 20. I think the range is very good. Your 10s are going to be great for, when it's either super low and they're super tight, or it's super high and they're super tight, to the rocks. Anything shallow, like we always talked about, the gram weight should match the depth of the water you're fishing. 10 feet, you fish 10 grams or less, And
I mean, it all depends on the current too. I mean, I haven't seen what the tide swing is going to be. If it's a mild tide, you can get away with the smaller stuff. But if it's ripping in and out, you might have to go a little heavier.
You
Bring some
should
20s.
cover. You should do a game plan. So let me check the.
Well, it's Saturday and see what the tide is.
Yeah, let's see.
I'll give you guys some tips here. Hold on.
Hold on. Don't ruin it for me. I want to see what it is too. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me see. Give me that NOAA tide prediction. Ooh.
So this is San Diego, California, and what, Saturday?
Yep. So that's May 12th. No, not May 12th. That's not May 12th. It's 11th. Hold on. Don't ruin it for me. Don't ruin it. I'm gonna look it up. I gotta see. Oh shoot.
That's some funky ass tide. Rest in peace.
Tide. It's a super exaggerated, long drawn out rising tide. I love that.
You when like is it over? Oh no, you'll be good because it ends at 1, right?
This is a great tide.
Oh yeah,
everyone should slam fish on this tide. It's not super fast. Guys that are in the grass are going to do really well. There's going to be plenty of dock guys that do good. I think this is such a good tide for this event because there isn't a shift. Like everyone's fishing the same exact rise in tide. You're not going to have people fishing the bottom. You're not going to have people fishing the top. There's no trough. It's all rising for the entire tournament.
It's going to rise the whole way. Yeah, you're right.
It's going to be a great tournament because of that. It's going to challenge a lot of people because your bite might not exist until literally like the last end of the tournament because it'll be all the way high.
I feel like 11, 12 p.m. I feel like around like noon, it's going to just pop off and you got to have to be ready.
It also depends on the weather. I'm sure it's sunny and beautiful, but that marine layer might be hanging over in the morning. Let's see. Let me see here. Yeah, that marine layer is going to hang around. It's kind of cool, actually. It's been a little colder. It's going to be 68 on Saturday, and it's been 58. It's going to be 58 that night.
Okay.
So the water temp's probably somewhere around like 65-ish, 62. So that's not exactly super good yet. So I got a lot of anchovies in the bay right now. Sunrise is at 6 a.m. 5:52. And it doesn't get sunny until 11. So yeah, I think you're right on the point that the bite's going to be really good from 11 to 2 or 11 to 1.
I slacked and it sold out. Yeah, dude, you're the third person that I've heard that from. That's crazy, man.
I can't believe that you didn't. I can't believe that he didn't get a ticket. I thought he'd be the first one in. He's got to kind of defend the Spotty Bowl title, man.
Who, Brian?
No,
Brian.
Alex.
Oh, Spotty at best. Oh yeah, he is the champ. He's out. Yeah, they're too busy fishing that Spotty Bowl. If I didn't, I wouldn't have thought a tournament sold out though either. Probably just like, oh, I'll sign up the day of, and then that's crazy. That's nuts, man.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be a 76-inch limit that takes it. That's what I think.
Usually they're pretty. I mean, fish are decent size in Mission Bay typically. Once you find them, it seems like Mission Bay is like when you find them, you found them, but they're kind of hard to find sometimes.
So I think there's going to be a mad rush in the morning of just crazy drops. Like there's going to be so many lines down in the morning, just trying to get that maximum exposure from those fish that haven't seen anything that morning. So
it's going to be like D-Day. You know that like Saving Private Ryan when like they're getting off the boat and it's just like they're underwater and just all those bullets are just like left and right going. That's what the Spotties are going to see.
Dropping everywhere.
It's going to be like 300 where the arrows. It's going to be like lures are going to blot out the sun.
Yeah,
it's going to be crazy, dude.
Oh, that's a great meme. Oh, please make that GIF of a bunch of.
The lures are going to blot out the sun.
Going into this body are just like
with have Xerxes saying how the lures are going to blot out the sun. That'd be
Well,
pretty
you would
funny.
technically be Xerxes.
Yeah, be putting the hurt down. That's funny.
Uh, oh, I can't wait. I think it's going to be
Sophie
a
says I might go
really
hit SD Bay while it's empty. Yeah, that's not a bad idea because you'll have SD Bay all to yourself, dude.
so Salty didn't get one either, huh? He didn't get an entry.
Yeah,
Did Brian
awesome.
get one?
No, he he texted me trying to get in, and that's why I said I reached out to Nate, and you can email him. I mean, if somebody cancels, they might be able to get you a spot in. I don't know. That's crazy.
Well, good for you guys. I hope you slay them. I
Yeah.
hope you guys slay them all.
All right, Kevin. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for all the support and buying the submission jigs, putting the fish on the table for us over here. And yeah, like Kevin said, go check out your local tackle stores. If you're at Dana Landing, clean them out, man. If you need jigs, go get them there first. And we really appreciate you guys. And yeah, maybe next week we'll do the stream from the water. I think that'd be cool. See if we can get on
That
some
would be
trout.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Oos.